Happy Monday to you. Yes, it is Monday. I almost said Tuesday. Today is Monday. Time is flying by so quickly. But anyway, before I get into all of that, you're watching John McEntyre Money Show live. I'm John McEntyre, your coach on call. Some people have called me. Um, Today is Monday, June 16th, 2025. For some odd reason, yesterday did not seem like a Sunday. It was Father's Day, which I hope all of the fathers had a happy Father's Day. Um, it didn't seem like Sunday to me. For some odd reasons, it almost felt like Memorial Day weekend to me or something. I don't know what it was. And so in my mind, it was like yesterday was Monday and today is Tuesday. And I don't know. I mean, stuff is going by so quickly. Time is flying by. Um, but like I said, I hope all of the fathers had a happy Father's Day. I know I did. Um, my family knows me. They know I keep it very simple. Father's Day is in the summertime. And so all I need is some good food in a cool spot. That's all I need. Give me a inside, good food inside. I'm good. Some people was like, yes, I'm going here. I'm going to the lake. I'm going here. I'm going to the other. I was like, enjoy yourself. I will be with you in spirit. I will definitely be cheering you on. But this guy is going to be inside eating. Um, and I got the food that I wanted. I love stuff off the grill. So I got my grilled food. Um, and enough chocolate for like 3 or 4 dads. But anyway, triple. I can say this before I move forward: triple chocolate fudge cake with peanut butter icing, with Reese cups on top of the peanut butter. So need I say more? So yeah, it was a good day for me. I'm good, and I want to give a shout out to my wife Andrea and my daughter Bella for making yesterday special. I'm good. I guess that's why I'm so confused. And if I look a little puffy, it's probably all of the carbs that I took in. So it's water weight. It'll be gone tomorrow. Um, but before I move forward, someone told me I did one time I mentioned like today is National Whatever Day. And so I was told, please mention that today is National Fudge Day. I was like, well, I really don't need to talk about sweets. I've had my fill of them. But I'll mention it. It was funny to me. Today is National Fudge Day, and they asked me what was my favorite fudge, and I was like, well, I have quite a few, but I think it's probably the maple walnut fudge, um, and I can't. That's why I can't wait for Chimney Rock, the area that was hard hit by Helene up in the Lake Lure area. Some of my favorite fudge came from one of the shops up there. I actually did a video with them, with the owner. The place is called Willow Creek. Hopefully they will come back stronger so I can get my fudge, all that good stuff. So I answered the question, what's mine? I guess the question would be, what's your favorite? What's your favorite fudge if you like fudge? I mean, I really haven't met a fudge I didn't like. But anyway, today we have a good one. Last week I talked about uh, making sure you have your documents all in one place, and in order. And it triggered a question for someone that was talking about it and said they were going to, they're working on doing that. And another question came up because I was like, when you put all of these documents together in one place, designate someone to have access to them. The key. Make sure they have a key or a combination. Depends on what type of a box you use for your documents. And that triggered another question because this particular person, all they have is they have a one child and a couple of grandkids. But now I take that back. It was a blended family. It's a blended family. So you have a child on one side with grandkids, a couple of children on one side with grandkids, and that was uh, it had a lot of questions to come up. And the biggest one was, Um, I want to give money to my grandkids if I want to actually help them. I don't want to wait until I'm gone before I can actually help them. And I'm like, yes, that happens all the time. More often than not, um, because offering financial assistance to the grandkids is probably one of the highlights of the grandparents, life. I honestly, because I was one of those. I was, I'm a grandchild, and so my grandmother in Ohio, she would, you know, it was like she looked for reasons to send money. She made up. I think she actually made up reasons to, send money and everything. And I think because my dad was her youngest, and I'm his youngest, and so I was like the baby's baby as far as she was concerned, and so she was always looking for reason. So I understand it. I understand exactly where grandparents are coming from. I actually believe, I'm almost convinced that people have kids to have grandkids to give stuff to. The kids is like the go between. They're like the broker. you know they're the broker. I want to have kids, and I want them to have kids, so then I can give stuff away. Then it just happens that way, and I have no problem with it. It's all, it's all to the good. um most people don't know that they're thinking legacy when they're doing those types of things. uh, but it comes with a caveat. A lot of times I've seen where this has happened, and it's sort of hurt the grandparents' retirement. They've given too much. They didn't put boundaries on it, and then things kind of went south, and it was like the money was almost like a loan, because now it's having to be, given back and things like that, or the parents of the grandkids having to step in to support the grandparents. And most don't have a problem with that, but there's just better ways to do it. That's all. It's just better ways, with a little thought up front. It can be a benefit to everyone will be happy, and it won't boomerang to where it becomes like a bad situation where they would, the grandparents may need the money back. So I wanted to share four. There's more than four, but the best ways, the top ways that I've seen. They're more common with um, with people who've done it successfully, and I wanted to share those for people who may be thinking. So number one is, most don't think about. They think about it, but they don't like put it in perspective. Just contribute to a 529 plan, which is a child's education fund. And most do think of it that way. I want to contribute, but they do it like in an inefficient way. They just give cash, or make the payment, help with education or whatever. Some do open up college funds, because that's like an old tradition, especially in America, with education, um, one of the big institutions of America. um, People have always wanted to help with the education of the children. It's like a thing that's already thought out, especially now there's so many more college educated people. They are, child is born, grandchild is born, they're going to go to my alma mater, or they're going to go to this school or that school, and they've already thought about it. And so that's the positive part. A lot of times it just happens. I'm just using the term inefficient because there's so much more that could be done, from a beneficial way, if it was done like in a 529, or a Coverdale, some type of an education fund. And I'm just particularly talking about 529 here, because 529, it is actually a section of the Internal Revenue Code. It's 529, which means, you know, the money can be given and withdrawn tax free. Well, that's win-win right off the top there. tax free. So you're making these contributions. If you do it right and you make the contribution, you're making it tax free. It's almost like an IRA for education, pretty much a Roth IRA for education. Let me be specific there, because not all IRAs are, you don't make the contributions in a tax free way. So you can make them tax-free contributions, as long as it's covering education, um, anything that applies to the education, to the child's education, college education, tuition, board, books, other necessary supplies, anything. And I mean, you know, uh, I could do a show by itself just about the 529. I mean, and it will last, because it is so robust. And that's just the 529, and there's the other college funding um, um, vehicles. So, but with this being a 529, like I say, keep it up front, tax free, contribution and withdrawn, as long as it is used for educational purposes. And these are 529s are state sponsored. So each state might be unique. The beauty of it is you don't have to use your state's 529. Um, there's like, we're in North Carolina, but there's a other couple of states that have I don't want to exactly say better, but it will be more beneficial for us. Um, and which is, one is Virginia, for instance. They have a very good 529 that would be more beneficial. And then there's other people outside of the state of North Carolina that uses the North Carolina 529. And it just depends. So you do your research, what exactly you're trying to accomplish. And what is your strategy? What is your financial situation? Things like that. You do your research and you find the one that would be most beneficial to you. I know some people with multi-state 529 plans. Some of them, they actually have a grandchild that's in Virginia, for instance, and so they set up one in Virginia. And then another grandchild is in a state with a very beneficial 529 plan, and so they contributed to that one for that particular child, and they're winning all the way around. And so with these being state sponsored, that's one of the things you have to think about. The other one is, it is a gift. So you have to remember, the IRS, this is an IRS code. It's a code. And so you have to remember that there's rules to gifting. Um, it's approximation. It's around what, 17, 20, around $20,000 on average of what you can contribute, without going over the IRS rules. So just remember that 529. If your grandkids, they're young, especially if they're young, they're babies, you set those up as soon as possible, and it will definitely put them ahead of the game. Just think, you started early enough. They're just born. You started 529, 18 years, 18, 19, 20 years of contributions and growth. This isn't an investment fund. It's growing. And so by the time they're 20 years old, not 18, 19, and it's time to use the money, just think, they probably can go to school debt free. And that's definitely giving them a big jump start in life. Going through college, that higher education, without having to use debt, it can't be beat. So the 529, look into it. Just education fund 529, easy. Number two, write them into your will. Um, most people, and when we say will, sometimes people may not have a lot of money in the beginning, and so they're they're making their moves and everything, and so they want to make sure that they're not hurting their retirement up front. So they put their grandkids in the will and let them know you are in the will, and it's just a little communication thing. Because you just want to make certain that you won't be needing the funds, later on. For instance, you set up a 529, but then 5 years, 10 years in, something happened with you financially, and you may need to take the money back out. Okay, well, that may not been a beneficial way, and it could cause some tax ramifications, things like that. So you could kind of like void out all of the benefits to it. So adding them to the will, letting them know, hey, I am thinking about you, and this is how I'm going to do it for now. It may change, and make sure that the will is updated. Um, that's another way. Just having them in the will and communicating it, and letting them know that you are thinking about them. Number three, this is like a big one. Just make them a beneficiary to an insurance policy, to life insurance policy, and that one is very common, because a lot of people, they buy life insurance and they say, this particular one, I'm going to leave it to the kids. I have people in the wills, this, that, and the other. But this is my legacy to the grandkids. I've made them beneficiary. And the beauty of it is, when it comes to life insurance, there can be more than one beneficiary. You can name three. Is it up to three? Something like that. It can even be more, three or more. And you can set up percentages. Like, say, for instance, you have three, and one is, and they're, from age, I don't know, 25 to 10. Okay, the 25-year-old may get 50% may be a 50% beneficiary. Then the other two could be 25, 25, or 50, 30, 20, whatever. You decide. This all written into the insurance contract, how you want them to be. That's one way you could set them up that way, or it can be however you want it to be. Each one receives, a third or so much. You can also have contingent beneficiaries, which is to say, okay, I only have maybe two grandkids or whatever, and I like one of them more than the other. I mean, it happens. It happens. I mean, it happens when it comes to money. I'm not surprised by anything. We've seen it all. We haven't seen it all, but we've seen a lot. And that one, I can say that one, and it sounds funny, but it has happened more than you would think. And there's a lot of people out there thinking, oh, yes, I definitely have a grandchild that I like more than others. This one is an angel, the other one's a bum. I mean, who knows? And I've heard it actually worded that way. I've actually heard it said that way. So I'm just sharing experiences. I'm sharing experiences, and I'm being transparent and honest about them, because it happens. So you can set them up as a contingent, which is to say, okay, this is the beneficiary. They get all of the money. However, if something happens to them, they can't be located. Maybe they left the planet. Maybe they're somewhere on a desert island, or maybe they've passed away, and you forgot to update the beneficiary. Well, if you name a contingent, then the contingent will take the primary place. So if the primary can't be found, or something has happened, a tragedy or something like that, then it will automatically go to the contingent. That's just setting up contingency. And it's, as you can tell, that's why people sort of like the life insurance route more, because they can just set it up, and every now and then just make sure it's updated. Just look at it, check the beneficiaries. And I say that, hope maybe that's triggered some people, because I've seen some people, like, they was like, why did this kid get this money? Well, they were made a beneficiary, but they didn't do. Well, they are the beneficiary. They're going to get the money. It wasn't updated. It could have been easily updated, but since it was not updated, this beneficiary, well, I don't think that it's fair that they get the money. That's not for the insurance companies to decide. They're not judge and jury. They just said, okay, here's the beneficiary. Are you the beneficiary? Are you who you say you are? Yes, I am. Is this you? Prove your identity. Okay, we're happy. Your identity has been proven. Bam, here's your check. We've done what we're supposed to do. We fulfilled our contract. A lot of people don't like it, but that means you just have to stay on top of that type of stuff. That's why you have to do those checkups and those reviews. We do a lot of those reviews. It might be time. Contact us. Maybe time to do that review. And it can be done and taken care of. So beneficiary, number 3. Number 4, you can just gift the money. You can gift it. A lot of, well-off, wealthy people, they're constantly looking for, ways to reduce their net worth as they age for estate tax purposes. Because if you have that magic number, a high amount of money in your net worth and in a bank and everywhere, estate taxes, they can get as high as 40%. So you've worked all of this time, you've worked your finger to the bone, you've wheeled and dealed, and you've sacrificed and done everything, done the right things, and then come to the end of life and now you have to give up 40%. I mean, you don't have to, but because you didn't do it the correct way, you were going to give up 40%. That hurts. So out of every $100, you have the 40 goes to taxes to Uncle Sam. No, Sam, you didn't really put in on this like that. So we can't do that. Well, if you set it up correctly, gifting money helps with lessening your own net worth. And if you're leaving, is leaving an inheritance later on down the line, that could be, that it can be, a bigger reduction, and it's technical. It's sort of complicated, but it's not as complicated as it sounds, as it seems. It's just unique to every situation. But there are plenty of rules out there, and you have to work within the federal limits. They have so much approximation around 18,000 per child that can be given without triggering those estate taxes and everything like that. And so, and that's you as the donor would be paying that tax, not the one receiving it, but the one that's making it. So that's why you need the professionals on your side to help you set all of this up. I mean, this is not something you want to try to do by yourself, because of the exemptions and the exceptions to the rule, to the rules of gifting and everything. You just want to make sure. And also, gifting, there's also certain categories if you're helping for medical purposes. For instance, medical, we talked about the education part, 529, for instance, educational. There's also sometimes you can help, not sometimes, but there are rules where you can help with medical, like medical debt or whatever, helping the child, grandchild, or whoever you're gifting the money to. You can help them without it being a burden, and it would reduce, your net worth, which in the end helps you pay less taxes. Just have to, but it's not something to do by yourself. You definitely need to bring those estate planning attorneys. We know some here. You can contact us. We'll hook you up with with an experienced, knowledgeable attorney, because it has to be done right away. Not everyone knows what they're doing. And as long as you do it within the right parameters, everyone will benefit from it. So you can do the 529. You can put them in a will. You can make them a beneficiary to the life insurance policy, very popular one, or you can just gift them the money. And if you have the right people on your team, it will be easy. If you don't know the people, contact us. Or you may be thinking it's time for us. I really need to look into that. Especially whenever they look, so young, because most people just think they're just going to buy for the grandchild, just buy them everything, spoil them. And I'm for it. I'm all for it. I'm not going to argue against it. As soon as my grandchild makes the scene, it's like I'm planning it. It's almost like sometimes, and me being me, sometimes I almost forget, wait a minute, I got a daughter. She's the one that's gonna make, broker this deal. So we gotta take care of her first. And we've talked about it. We've talked about it. And so just imagine if you just start early, as soon as they come into the world and you start these processes, as much as you can do for them, just think how much more you can do for them if you plan it right. And so you may be thinking, okay, that's something I want to do. Contact us here. We'll help you get you going in the right direction. It may be time to do that financial checkup, maybe time to do a financial review. You haven't done it in a while. Maybe you need someone, maybe you did some things with an advisor that didn't work out. We'll adopt you. We're always adopting clients of orphan clients of bad advisors and professionals. So just contact us here. We'll make sure and take care of you. You can go to johnmcintyre.com, contact us, or you see the phone number scrolling at the bottom. Work with us, and we will point you in the right direction and get you on the road to having all of your money on target and hitting your financial goals. That's important to you. So, with that being said, I hope I offered some good information and tips. If you're watching by YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, share it. If you're watching Facebook Live, share it, like it. Or if you're watching an actual rerun, if you're not rerun, but if you're actually watching the recording, you can still do the same thing. Contact us. This is live, but it's on YouTube and Facebook for as long. Facebook's changed their rules now. I think it's only on there for so long now. They're holding videos, whatever. We'll talk to Zuckerberg about that later. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have your questions, comments, want to share those wallet wins, want us to celebrate those wallet wins with you, contact us. And this is John McEntyre saying until next time, we'll talk.